Welcome to No Lies Detected with David Raine and Chike Evans. We have distinguished guests today from the cast of King of Knives. We have Gene Pope and Justin Sams. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
Here.
Nice to be here. Everybody's happy to be here. So, King of Knives just released. Mostly, I guess, most of the action is happening on Amazon, right? Or is it kind of like an even spread?
From what I'm hearing right now, it's about 2/3 Amazon, 1/3 iTunes, and a little bit on some of the others.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my family is on Apple TV, so I've gotten
Right.
Apple TV text.
Yes.
So Apple TV and then Apple TV Plus, those are two different stream services, or is it you kind of get Plus when you have Apple?
You have to pay extra for Plus. Yeah,
Okay. You pay Plus for Plus. All right.
And for Amazon too, when you pay for the movies. Some of the movies, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes you can, but they give you the option to rent or to buy it, which is
Yes.
yeah. But I was thinking to buy King of Knives. The thing with that is it downloads to where? It downloads into it doesn't download into your property. Like, you don't own it. Like, you can't.
Amazon?
I'm not sure about that, but technically you're not incorrect. There was recently an article about that when you buy a film on something like Amazon, you don't actually own it. You have bought a permanent license, and so you still stream it. I don't know if you can. I thought I saw something about being able to download it at like 720, which is not the best quality, but it's okay. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's a little controversial right now.
Yeah, it's odd.
And then in all actuality, when you own it through Amazon, you only own it in the sense that you still have Amazon. If you don't have Amazon, it's not like you have the movie.
Yeah, it's like you own it in their cloud.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't, it's like, so their cloud for you, you can, access it anytime, but you can't take it anywhere.
And then that goes
Consider it a long-term lease.
Probably goes for Apple too.
You're written basically the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's on a constant rip.
I never thought of it that way. Wow. I'm gonna keep all my DVDs now. Now we're
right.
I haven't thrown mine away.
Now. Done.
Yeah.
This whole streaming situation is so new. I think that they're going to be figuring out things, from now until forever. Just look at the whole Wonder Woman situation. Wonder Woman releases a couple weeks, and it's going half cable, half theaters. Who ever heard of such? That's crazy. But
yeah,
they're trying to figure it out.
I mean, King of Knives was supposed to be a theater movie.
Yeah.
That was the initial plan, right, Gene?
Yes, absolutely.
And then because of we'll let you tell it.
Well, no, it was a matter of, well, let's just say that when the pandemic hit, I went, oh my God. And I could see the handwriting on the wall. And, I just a little bit about myself. In the 90s, I owned a record company called Pope Music, because I started out as a recording engineer many, many, many moons ago. And at that time, in that decade was when Napster came out, where all of a sudden all the music was free. And all of us independent labels basically had to fold. I folded early because I could see the handwriting on the wall. And then all of a sudden there were boxes from my friends in other independent labels who were sending me their entire catalog saying, would you like to buy our catalog? And I said, nah, I'm sorry guys, I can't, because I don't think there's a future for us. And indeed, I'd say 75 to 85% of all the independent record producers went out of business because of there was no money in it, enough money in it to promote your artists, right? Because you always need that money. Now with movies, now that we've got this Prime business and stuff like this, where you're getting pennies, I think it's 6 cents a half an hour. Once you get beyond the rental or buy period, when it's just streaming free on these services, or Netflix, for instance, it's 6 cents a half an hour. So I don't know how you're supposed to pay for a movie doing that. So when this whole thing went down, definitely this was shot to be in a theater. And when you're in a theater, I know you guys were at screenings and saw it in the theater, and it is a different experience. It really is, with all the music and the surrounding, and you see so much detail, little details that you're just, the story kind of surrounds you literally with a large screen, and in the dark, as it were. And I used to gauge it by sitting in the back of the theater, and you could tell by the shoulders, the positions of people's shoulders, how engaged they were in the movie. So if they were up and forward, bingo, you got them. If they were like this, you know what they were doing. They were distracted, yes. But if you saw them kind of doing this, also not good. And we really had very little of that in the screening. So that's what I knew. It's like, boy, I'd love to have it on a big screen, but it just wasn't to be. And so basically everything is through social media now to publicize it and everything else, and publicity, you know. And we've been very fortunate. That's why I'm so glad to be here with you, because it's been through interviews like this that a lot of people are hearing about us. And we've been on a bunch of radio shows and stuff like this, and it's just been wonderful. It's been great, and the response has been very good. And so so far, so good. Now we have to see what happens at the end of the Christmas season, because again, we put a little decorations on it, you know, on the original poster, to kind of make it interesting, intriguingly like not Christmas. But we'll see if we go back to the original poster when the season is done. We'll see.
So I'm thinking that you probably should change the poster to push it and make it more Christmas, because I just saw a report earlier today about how all of the Christmas movies of this year are doing extremely well because of the Christmas marketing. And honestly, of all the Christmas movies that I've seen in my life, this movie was probably the most poignant and had the most relevance as to real life that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a story.
Thank you. Yeah, we spent 2 years, Lindsay Joy and we spent 2 years on the script, and we literally closed out myriad restaurants all that time. And by the end of the first year, we had a script, we had a movie script, and the length was right. The problem was there wasn't enough humor in the movie. It was just a Debbie Downer, and like that. And I thought that didn't reflect enough of the humor in life, that even when things are crappy, there's still some humorous things that make you just kind of smirk a little, you know, and you go, yeah, I know how that goes. I know what that's about. And that's what we did the second year, was to add the humor into it. And that eventually fell to, you know, various characters to kind of emphasize that. So, yeah.
That's cool.
So where did you get some of the stories from? Like some of the storyline, is that based off of real life? Is it from, you know, other people's lives? Because it was very tangible.
Absolutely. It was, the movie was roughly based on my own midlife crisis back in the late 80s. You know, my father died suddenly, and I felt like I was adrift, and I had, you know, 2 young children at the time, and things weren't going so well in the marriage and all like this. And so things kind of got wacky. And you don't really realize you're in a midlife crisis until you've popped out the other side, looked back and went, wait, what was that? Oh my God, is that the way I was behaving? Oh my God. And, you know, and it's kind of like that. And it's like, oh, I was out of my mind. And so it was based on that. It was based on Lindsay's saying to me, I want to understand more about my own father. And so she wanted to write about that, because her own father went through a similar, and plus talking to friends who are constantly telling me what they're going through. And then I noticed, then at the same time, we noticed that this so-called quarter life crisis was starting to pop up with millennials and others within a certain age range. And I think that this terrible virus we're going through now is kind of accentuating that, as to what exactly am I going, if you're approaching 30, it's like, what am I going to do here? What am I supposed to do? And it's sort of a squeeze time on your life. And that's what, that informed a lot of the script. And then basically it was, you know, I wanted Lindsay to do this because she'd been a playwright for most of her career, and a wonderful actress as well. And so she really knew how to write dialogue. And
Hmm.
so it was her that made the points that we were talking about and structuring. And we were outlining together. She's the one that took the points and made it pointier. And she just loves to kick the chair out from under people, you know? And so that was the thing that made her dialogue so good. But as far as the total story, we kept working it and working it and working until a couple of weeks before we started shooting, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
Wow.
But Justin, I saw
Justin,
you react to the becoming 30s crisis. So I have some friends that are millennial age, and I remember this. It was like 30 was this horrible end of the world thing, you know. And for
It
me, I've already
feels like
passed it.
it is. It feels like it is. I'm gonna sit with that for a little bit. No, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm on my way. And with the circumstances of this year, it's just like, well, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah.
But it's like I guess oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Am I did something
Yeah.
happen? I'm
No,
sorry.
we hear it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess I'm going through my first quarter life crisis, approaching 30. So, I just sit back in it. I mean, like with my character, Sebastian, he's a wanter as well as myself. So I kind of get that your character as well, Gene, was a wanter and had needs as well. So I think they both met their match in that specific scene as well. But yeah, 30 sounds like it sucks.
Well, so
Today, that's just me today. Okay.
you're right. You're right. Yeah, ebb and flows, right?
Right.
So what you said about Sebastian. So Sebastian seemed to be like wise beyond his years. It seemed like, right? There's a calmness. There's a mysticalness. So almost maybe wiser and calm. Not why I won't say wiser, but calmer than you might be describing yourself as far as dealing with age or whatever. But like, how did you approach getting into that?
Well, it's really a few short moments that we have with Sebastian. So as an actor, I like to make it meaty. So I kind of took away adding magic and kind of looking for a mirror image, like what are Sebastian's needs and wants and his desires. I mean, he's a nomad. He doesn't have a home. I mean, in the movie, he meets Gene's character and the next day he's gone. So he's in the process of looking for something. And I think he maybe found a piece to his puzzle when he met Gene's character. And maybe he was figuring out the answers for himself. So I always played it like I'm talking to myself. You know how you kind of have to like encourage yourself in those really dark moments in your life. I kind of played with that element to it, because it's easy to like twirl the baton and then magic happens,
Right.
So I played with that idea.
Cool.
And you've gotten a lot of great feedback, as has all the cast. And now, would you like to know why Justin was picked for the part?
Absolutely.
Sure.
There was a particular thing that happened in casting where even in your first casting session, where before the callbacks, where I said, now this is interesting. And here's what it was. Everybody else that read for the part, every single person made it all about the cards, made about the card game, made it about the reading. What you did, what you brought to the table was this beautiful compassion for this childlike person across from you, high on Molly, who you felt sorry for, but it was you made the scene all about your compassion for this man who was clearly losing it, and that's why you were cast. And you came through in spades in this case. And so just so you know.
That's good to hear, because in the audition we had cards to play with, and I don't know nothing about no damn tarot, solitaire. So I was like, let me keep my eyes fixed on the reader. But that's amazing. I'm glad.
And now I have to turn my attention to David and embarrass him too. So it's like, but you know, I'm serious. It's like I was we did 2 weeks of 8 hours a day for the initial casting, and then callbacks. And in the callbacks, I would read with everybody. And there is nobody in this film that didn't stand out for the life that they gave the part. And David was the same way. As again, as a trainer, okay, you can be a trainer and like going through the motions of no. Even when we got on set, David was like in control. It's like, because this is obviously a client that he can't push too hard, and he just got it the moment he read. And on the set, there was a couple of times, right, David, where literally this was early on in the shooting, and it's like I had to like literally say, okay, wait a minute. This was after we shot, by the way, but it was our scene that caused me to say, hey guys, and this is what happened, is that you know how they'll plan it all out. They'll plan out the shoot, and they'll put an X on the floor here and an X on the floor there. And that's your first position, and then they go to the second position. Well, our second position was way the heck off these marks, and then they just said, go, roll camera. And it's and we're going, how are we going to get to these other marks? And it ended up that the confusion of trying to get from one mark to the other is the take that's in the movie.
Yeah. Here, hold this.
So you see us I'm kind of looking around. Well, where do you want me to go? And so we played with it, and that's how, and that's why it's such an instantaneous moment in the movie. It's because we truly didn't know how we were going to execute this move, so we just kind of blew our way through it, and it was convincing. So they probably did it. John probably did it on purpose, if I was to guess.
Yeah. I was wondering. There was a couple of times where we ad-libbed these things where I was kind of like cracking on you at the just before the end, and I was like, they didn't use any of that because I was I had all these like little like smirky insults, like come on old man, but the granny thing, I think that was in the script, wasn't it?
Granny, yeah,
that was in the script. Yeah. That was fun ragging on you for like an hour.
It was all right with me. It was fun. It was just fun doing all these things. It was fun doing the entire movie. Working with everybody was just I can't isolate any one moment, but working with both of you was fabulous, as it was with everybody. So it's cool.
So beautifully shot. The city shots were just so beautiful, and upstage shots, like it was incredible, from the costuming, the set designing,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, how we did this was that we shot when John Delgado came in, and at first I wanted him to be DP, because I'd seen he's done a ton of DP, 25 years of DP work on top TV shows, and when he came in, he said, "How about this? I got an offer for you. How you let me direct it, okay?" And I thought about it, and I went, "Okay," and I thought about it, and I said, you know what, that could be a really cool idea. But one of the draws of it, I realized, was that John Delgado could bring all his friends and these top tier people from the TV show business, the series business, and bring them in, because this was their vacation slot. The time when we shot was the time when they weren't shooting, and so they were willing to move down a notch in terms of IATSE level and budget level and all that stuff. And so we ended up with a crew whose pay grade was way above what we could have possibly done without their wanting to do it. And everybody that was on the shoot really it was a very friendly set.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to do this film. So it was terrific. But that's how it happened. And that's kind of, in addition, I had a creative consultant brought in, which was Patrick Lillis. And Patrick has been, I've known him for years in terms of a stage and movie actors director. And so the way that it worked, that made it so efficient, was that John would be working on visually moving the cameras where they had to move, and they would talk together, and then Patrick would come to the set and knew exactly what to say to us in just a few words to get the result that they were looking for. And that just made things crack along. It was great.
which works for an actor sometimes, because sometimes you can be on a set and the director will just block it and just go away, and you don't know what you look like until the cutting floor or whatever. But to have having Patrick there, it was just such a calming effect. Like, oh, baby's doing good, baby's doing good, and he would just give so many like coins and gifts of acting direction that were just so helpful. Like, it was really the best experience for sure.
Yep.
Very good. So we had recently had David on the Stephen Knight show, and one of the things that came up about this film was the diversity of the film and how the film actually looked like a typical American situation. It was filled up like good soup. Was that the intention from the onset of this development?
Well, the movie was shot. We were writing it in 2016, so it was a while ago, and then it was shot in 2018, and that's before all this wonderful new awareness started to get pushed to the fore, as it should. Because even I felt that there was, just looking back, way back in filmmaking, there was a time there in the 70s and 80s when a more diversified cast, especially from England. You saw a lot of movies from England coming with a much more diversified cast. But I felt like, honestly, that we were starting to go backwards, and I said, no, there's something wrong here. I don't understand this. And so what I can say to you is that when Lindsay and I sat down to do this, there wasn't, we naturally wanted to have a diversified view because it's New York. Hello? I mean, New York is is like Paris, is like, anywhere, a cosmopolitan city where you're gonna do a movie that's set in the city, then it has to be set in the city, and it has to utilize all the people. And as when I was at Maggie Flanagan Studios, where I did like a 2-year conservatory, and on acting, and obviously in class there was every kind of person you can imagine. It's like, I don't even like to say it that way. It's just everybody was there. Everybody was there, and we loved each other, and we had a great time. And I guess it's just whatever, the way I was brought up. It's like, of course, we need to diversify this movie. Why wouldn't we? It's like this character should be this way. This should be this way. It's like it makes it a fuller movie. It makes it a more interesting movie. And that's it. End of story. And we are actually in the middle of writing the second piece for this, A King of Knives.
Nice.
And that diversity is going to be carried on, and we already have characters in there that are going to be interesting and surprising when that time comes. Not yet, just I'm just saying, when it comes.
Did either of you guys know that there was a King of Knives 2 coming? Is this breaking news?
No, it's breaking news.
Breaking news, hot off the press. I'm
Yeah.
double like that.
So, David, tell me your best experience about this film, of being in this film.
Well, it goes back to kind of what both Gina and Justin were saying. I was like, Sam. Justin was saying, Sam's. I'm gonna call you Sam's. The environment of the set was just warm. It was friendly. So I've got a lot of experience doing guest star and co-star and TV, and so a lot of it is very boom, boom, boom. Like, you have to come, you got to be ready. There's nobody even has time to rehearse you because they're rehearsing the star of that scene. You come in, and although your part is pivotal to the meaning of the scene, you're not pivotal to the crew as far as like how you need to be taken care of. And that's been my experience in the past. I think maybe 1 or 2 gigs where they were like, hey, we're gonna do a rehearsal. Welcome. Would you like, do you need this? Do you need that? Usually I get my trailer and they just leave me in a trailer until it's time to shoot. So this was like, I think I even came, it was so warm that I even came and watched Gene do the health club bathroom scene, so I was actually able to say, and everyone looked at me like, hey, David, and I'm like, wow, okay, cool. So watch him do a couple of takes of that. And then it was just a warm environment. So what I came away with is that mostly, like, of course, I enjoyed, doing the scenes. I'm praying and happy that it came out the way it did, and praying for great success for King of Knives. But ultimately, the experience of working, with everyone is probably what stuck the most, for me at the top.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
What about you, Justin?
We shot it like there's something about spring weather in New York City, like from April to May. I believe it was like when we were shooting it.
Yeah, it was warm.
Something about going to work in the like awakening of spring and just going to a very nice warm environment. And the day we shot our scene, we were literally in that hut for maybe about 4 or 5 hours, just the two of us, just like hanging out, learning lines. It was cozy. Like this, I mean, everyone was just on their A game and detailed in everything they did. So when a crew is good and the writing's good and the project's good, the actor's comfortable and we'll do less. We will do less.
Yes. Yeah.
We will sit back and just do what we will just act. We won't go back to the trailer and complain about costuming or the diva actor on set. We can I was able to do my job. And so it's just nice when you can clock in and clock out, and that's what it gave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And it also seemed, because this movie was shot when it was shot, your average person does not know what goes into filmmaking. So they don't really know that some things are sitting on a shelf for a number of years or in production for a number of years before they actually hit. So being as though this movie comes out now, in the middle of a pandemic, there's a lot of, I should say, mystery to it as to how could you make such a film during this time? Where does it come from? And so that kind of adds to the whole mystical part of the film itself, because the film is kind of mystical in itself, not just from that scene of, the tarot readings, but the film has a mystical element to it. And for me, in watching it, it's kind of like it things started to go south, but it's like the normal thing for certain families around the holidays. That's like the normal shit that happens around holidays. Things tend to go south. So it kind of fit into that whole narrative of your average American person around the holidays. Just a great job, guys, all the way around. I appreciate it. And I honestly, when David turned me on to it, I did not know what to expect. I did not know what I was about to watch. And I felt a little nervous having David on the show, having reviewed the film, and I would have to critique it in front of him. And David and I are good friends, so I know that he would be able to take whatever I dished out either way. But I'm glad that it was a good film. I'm glad that I was able to give it a good review.
Yeah. And it's that, speaking of, one of the reasons why I didn't explain anything to you, when you do a project, even with music, because music, acting, all of it, sometimes if you're not completely happy with it, you pre-explain. Oh, okay, so this is, and you're given the setup, and oh, well, it was like, this, and then like I was able, for King of Knives, after seeing it in New York with you guys, I was able to just go, oh, just check out this movie, like with no explanation, no, and so that's a proud feeling too, to just that I feel like I did good work with good people that did good work, and I can just look at the work, like I don't have to explain anything. So
I think everybody was very much on a perfectionist level, and that was part of the reason why I like to be in the casting room, is that I like people who I can tell have a drive that want it to be perfect, and so that, because if you do that enough in a movie, then it lifts the whole movie. The whole movie is more convincing. It makes more sense, and magic things come forward on the film itself. I mean, you could read the script, and it's nothing at all. You could put it on stage, and it's not going to be the same as all of the extra layers that film gives to any script, but particularly a script like this, which is about the dialogue, frankly. But it adds all the justifications, and it's like all the background of the characters is swirling around them, and you can see it and you experience it, and you come to your own conclusion about, so what is this? What are these people about exactly? It's like, this is interesting. It's like, okay, what does that mean about me? I mean, I have to tell you, it's like there's there's two kinds of people. who really love this movie. And that's people my age and older who have looked at back in their lives, and they know exactly what they did right and what they did wrong and what was stupid and what was smart. We all do, most of us. And so we look at this and we go, yeah, uh-huh. Oh, that, yes, 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 you know. And it's, you know, it's like the language in the films. Like the language is a little strong, you know. I mean, because probably mostly because of the language, because you can only say an F-bomb once on a film and not get an R rating, and we have plenty of those. And but that was it. That's real dialogue. That's what I've heard, and that's what. Well, my daughter, who was in the movie, you know, she definitely, you know, what I say to people is like, my family's an F-bomb family. I'm sorry, it just is. It's, yeah, I'm not going to pretend it isn't.
New
It's
York.
like,
It's New York.
what's that?
It's New York. You're a New York family.
Right.
But I'm from the South, so yeah, we cuss. So.
And so, you know, so every so often there's going to be a person that's going to be completely offended by this, and I totally understand. Yes, by all means, don't see it, you know, because if it's, and you have every right to be offended if you're going to be offended, but it's not that it's gratuitous, it's that it's a part of the characters. And in families, sometimes this stuff just, you know, in the privacy of their home, it's just flying around like crazy, you know. And then of course, the people that I know are like can snigger at that when they're older. At the same time, though, they're very polite people. You know, it's like they'll look to see if a person, not going to use that language just willy-nilly. And that's half of it, is it's letting you look inside of, you know, that kind of incoherence and chaos and everything else, etc.
There's a thing that happens with people that are older. I remember there was a point in time before, you know, all the trial stuff had started with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was going on tour, basically just pouring his guts out to audiences, giving them his mind. And people were like, well, what's wrong with the man? Has he gone crazy? You know, why is he saying all these things? And there's this thing that happens with people as they get older, is that they just don't give a fuck at all. They just will say what they're going to say, and damned be hell with everything, you know, after that. And I often wondered myself, how do people arrive to that point? And, you know, me approaching 50 next year, I see it. I'm approaching that point where I just don't give a damn. It is what it is, and I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm not going to be apologetic. And that's been in discussion with me and my circle leading up to, you know, this year. And I've referred your film to a number of people since I've seen it. You want to see how someone gets to that point? This is a good template to see how someone gets there. Watch this film, and you get to a point where you start to have a crisis, if you can call it that, where you look over your life and you just don't have time to waste anymore. You've made the decisions in yourself that, okay, I'm not dealing with this anymore, or I'm going to start dealing with this. And you make that decision. Let's cut to the chase and get right to the meat of the matter. This is the truth. And I thank you for creating this, and and it shined a light on a lot of things and how people can mature into their truth. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that I think a little, I have to admit, a little bit of this probably came from saying, regardless of people's personal actions, which we know is like that's stuff that needs to be corrected, and there are things that people are blind about, and I understand that. I've been around long enough that I saw it when I was younger. I still see it today. It's, yeah, okay, and I'm glad to see this fucking torn open, and let's fix this once and for all. It's freaking awesome. At the same time, I had this little reverse thought that said, you know, people might be interested in seeing that so-called white privileged people can also implode, that and without their control, that the world can all of a sudden squeeze in on you and you've got nothing left. You've lost everything that you thought you were working for, and that money isn't everything.
Yes.
And because that's something I've always believed. Money, it's nice to have, but then you start, and I know what's happened to me. It's like, I just would start meeting, as I become more successful, it's like I started meeting people and I went, eh, eh, really? Is
Yeah.
that who my neighbors are now?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm not kidding. I'm probably insulting people right now, but I don't care. It's like, because it's like I don't live by that code, and I won't live by that code. It's like, I'm, and that's one of the reasons I'm sure I like the city as much as I do, is because it's, um, there's no assumptions, presumptions. There's less of it, and the further out in the burbs you go, it's like, whoa, it's like, really? Okay. Maybe I didn't hear that, what you said correctly. Could you say that again? But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, because that happened to me a little bit. The reason the guy's in advertising, guys, I was in advertising. And there's no question that at a certain point, I was about to have a child, and I wasn't making any money, even though I was starting to have more responsibility, and I was working on $100 million accounts like American Airlines and Polaroid and you name it. So it was like I was doing all this work. I was being paid, I think, $11,000 a year. That's it, and they would not give me a raise.
But
And
this
I
was
finally,
in the 20s, right?
Maybe I just ready to turn 40.
11,000 is like today's 11 million.
it was okay. I owe you one. I'm going to think about it first, though. It's like I had to think up a good one for you, David. But yeah, you're right. You're right. It was in the late 70s. But
Yeah.
it was so. But I had to quickly. I was in a panic. I have to make more money, and it's like I have a family coming. I have bills to pay. I was in such credit card debt you wouldn't believe. Sound familiar? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and if all the things that happened with people losing their jobs, if this had been back then when I had two children, I'm fast forwarding just slightly, but it was the time when we bought a house. I had two young children. We were credit balled up to our eyeballs. That was it. It's like beyond an elastic band. It was way too far extended. I wouldn't be in that house today with what's been going on. There's no way. I definitely would have lost my job. And so, you can't, when you look at that and you realize that you have to accommodate the fact of what people are going through right now. And if this movie can, and the only reason I do that is I say that is that if this movie can show people how you can laugh at certain things, at certain crazy things in life, that there's always some form of humor. We're sitting here and we're laughing, and we're surrounded by chaos, and people who are getting depressed. And I'll be the first one to tell you, it's affecting me. Mm-hmm. It's affecting me big time. Why? Let's look at the other side of the coin. You're getting older. These opportunities I can't go after now. I can't do anything. So when we finally pop out the other side, am I going to start getting senile by then? You know what I'm saying? It's like, is this it? Is this the last thing I can claim to this is my big hurrah? And it's like, oh, that's depressing.
No, it's not. It's not that. I'm channeling my Sebastian. It's not.
No, but then I have my upside too. So, like now I'm having a great time. So.
Well, that goes to enjoy it while.
And that's the reality of it all. What'd you say, David?
No, I was saying that speaks to enjoy it while it's happening. Like be in it as it's happening. Like not to nowhere near going to
be in the moment, live your life.
Things. Yeah. But let's be in it. Let's appreciate and enjoy it. That's actually I was on a panel last night with actors, and we were talking about what we were doing to survive during this time, and how were we, and not just survive monetarily, survive spiritually and emotionally. And so we talked about the different things of appreciating. It's kind of making you appreciate where you are, what you have. And we're no longer, damn, that part, I needed to get that. I mean, like just before the pandemic, I'm sure all of us could say we had things lined up. I mean, I shot a pilot and it didn't never happen. And then, a couple of other things that were done and in the bag that are just dead. And So it used to be a thing where it's like, got to get that next one. You're like spinning like a hamster on a wheel. Got to get that next one, you know. And now you can't do shit. So you're just like, all right. So who am I? You know, what makes me truly smile from the inside? What makes me feel good? What makes me feel healthy? And I think that we're all on the other flip of the coin. We're all going to come out of this more powerful. We're going to come out more beautiful, more stronger, more aware of what we command out of the universe and what we expect. And I think we're having time to like, it's like almost like you know, Rocky working out for that big fight. You know, we're training, you know what I mean? And when as soon as this thing clears, we're all going to come out swinging, you know. So that's the way we ended up, the panel, we all ended up agreeing to that last night. Like, yeah, you know, at the end, we're like, we're gonna go kick ass, you know. So I think that's where I'm at with it, you know. Yeah.
I think it's a good place to be in.
Yeah. I
You
would
know?
say feedback, stay ready as much as you can, because like in this business, it can flip on a dime. Even in 2 hours, it might flip on a dime. Like, you know,
Yep.
ride that wave, baby.
So, so Justin, I wanted to find out from you a little more of when, you know, what was your favorite moment? I know what David's is, but what was your favorite moment when you were in the film there? And you know, walking away from it, what did you look back?
I look back on that party scene. Being on set that day, it was like 100 extras. Oh, I do remember it was really hot.
Oh God, yes.
It was really hot in that warehouse that day.
95 to 100 it turned
Wow.
up to, and then they had these huge barn doors they had to open up and air it out between takes. It was so awful.
I would
Yeah.
say that day of, you know, seeing all the extras and just the way they decorated that warehouse, and also in between takes when we were chilling outside during the heat exhaustion. I Well, I mean, I love your car scenes. Like, I'm like, Gene is
Yeah.
looking bad in that car. Look at him. Damn. I love all the car scenes. Like, how y'all did that. That is incredible.
Well, when we were we how we picked that car is literally we were going through the rental company's cars, and John and I were flipping through them, and I said, listen, we have to get something that's like, this is so outrageous, this is so egocentric, it's disgusting. And it was like, you know, Lamborghini, no, too young, blah, 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 blah. And then we came upon the Maserati with the white interior and red. That's it. That's the one.
Hey, and to see it in the movie theaters, I think that was the last time I saw you earlier this year, Gene. It was at the screening, like probably one of my last outings before.
It was the last outing for me. That was it. February 29th.
Oh,
Boy,
yeah.
did we just make it.
Definitely. That was last time I saw Gene was at that screening. So that was the last time I probably saw a movie in a movie theater.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very special to me, this film. And it made it on the other side. It's out. But yeah, those car scenes, slick.
Glad you liked them.
Oh yeah.
Somebody once asked me, so how did you do the I don't want to give too much away, but it's in the trailer, so it's like it looks like the car crashes and stuff like this. And that was amazing to see how John Delgado and the stunt people and all put that all together. And those few seconds actually took the better part of a day and a half to shoot. And it's so many cameras. Some are mounted on the car, some are, you know, trailing a trailer, some are with I'm actually driving the car. There were when it turns real suddenly there, that's actually running in reverse, so that you didn't accidentally go into the wall. So you go in reverse away from the wall, and all these stunts and tricks. And it was that was a lot of fun from a nerdy standpoint to watch them put that together and then look at it come together in editing and go, whoa, that's like, it all works. It's amazing.
That was cool. I love hearing like behind the scenes tricks like that. I don't know. It does something to the geek inside of me.
Yeah, well, the airbag deployed, right?
Mm,
And that that was an actual working prop.
mm.
What you didn't see was that there was an air tank the size of the back seat in the back seat with a valve on it and the guy with a valve. And what he basically said to me was, my cue, get this, my cue will be you throwing your head at the wheel. And I'm going, and if it doesn't go out, and he says, no, let's try it. And then we'll do it. So he did a dry run where I didn't hit the wheel, but on the second one, he wanted me to go for it. And so that's why it looks so damn real, is that I'm really going for it, full speed, 3, 2, 1, wham.
Wow.
And he lets that lever go, and this thing just goes, wham.
That's crazy.
Like, whoa, that was so cool. Can we do it again?
You guys sent it back in one piece, like how it came. Yeah, the car. Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, that little bit of smoke afterward was actually added in post.
Nice.
And they had, and also in the rain, because it was raining when the scene starts, and the rain at the end, it had stopped raining. So there was a guy with a hose, and he was peeing on the windshield lightly. You don't notice it. These are all the little extra things so that you don't say, hey, what happened to the rain? You just accept it. It's raining, But if you just look a few inches off screen, it's like, there they are with the hose and the light and the da-da-da-da, and, because inside a car is hard to light. So they had a light coming in through the windshield, to make sure that there was enough light, et cetera, et cetera. It was cool.
So I believe that this film has enough integrity and enough weight to it to earn itself some nominations. What do you guys think?
I think that it's I think that we've done real well on the film festival circuit. Getting those 7 platinum awards from the that Los Angeles International Independent Film Festival was a signal, and what they were signaling was, all right, we're not going to put you on our theater rotation, which it's not really it's a film festival that goes on for months, and but that was the highest level you could get of the various awards, and the fact that they gave us 7 was telling us that it's like, well, we're doing something right. They really liked the film. And then we've gotten another one. We're up for another nomination in Nice. That's coming up in January, I believe. But as far as that goes, it's difficult because we're in digital limbo here. You have to be in a theater if you're going to be brought in and thought of for any nominations higher than that. And I also think that in the spirit of an independent film, I think that there are things that some people will say, well, it's not Meryl Streep, it's not, this actor, that actor, and the lead roles and stuff like that. And so it kind of gets discounted a little, I'm not going to, pretend that doesn't happen. And so, but I think that if somebody wanted to nominate it for script and for, some performances, maybe hey, I think people did a wonderful job with it. And so I would love to see that. And I think that, again, you go on the reviews we've got on Amazon and stuff like that, and these are real verified purchases. These are not like friends and family and stuff like this. A couple are, but that's it. It's like 2. But the rest of them are like people, I don't know who they are. And it's like, they really, really like the movie. And that is giving me a lot of satisfaction to see that coming out. They get it. They really get it. And what else could we ask for, right?
That's right. Very good film. David?
What's that? Oh, I'm good. Did we hit on what you were interested in, GK? Like all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you guys all day. You know, when it comes to films, I'm a geek. I'm like Poindexter up here. I'm
You have any
actually
other
trying to
questions?
calm. I'm trying to calm my excitement down because it's just a privilege to be able to talk to the people that were in this magnificent film. David, you know how I can
Yeah. He's gonna order pizza.
get.
Well, if you want,
So, so
I'll send you I think I have an extra poster hanging around, you know,
oh
we
my,
can put
yeah,
up
I'd love that.
away.
I'd love that.
So
Yeah,
I
I'd
know
love
I have
that.
extra, so let me send you one.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah,
All right.
Awesome.
yeah, and sign it. Yeah.
Okay. I have the people that are on the poster. I have them coming in with we're going to digitally sign it, and so
Nice.
I'll get that
Very
done as
nice.
well because we
Very
just
nice.
can't come with all together and sign it, so it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
impossible.
I'd love that.
Mhm.
I love that. So I'll start with Gene. Gene, what's in your future? What's going on? What are you working on now?
Uh, we're really working on this script, and really at the same time, every waking moment is on selling the film, because
Mm,
there is no selling.
mm,
I mean, we've got everything going. We've got everything on social media lit up. We've got everything lit up that we can possibly do, but it's going to be word of mouth, and it's the most insecure feeling no matter how much faith you have in your film. I'm sure I'm not alone as a filmmaker to know that, you know, this is the most tense time where my stomach just won't release because there's so much riding on it.
mm,
And so basically you have to count on word of mouth to let people know that, hey, check this one out, you know, and I hope that people will do that, you know, and then it gets into a wide enough circle so that next time, you know, let's say to do the second one, the financing will be a lot easier to acquire, et
mm-hmm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know?
True.
So that's my
Justin?
wish.
Right now, it's been an interesting year. Right now, a film that I shot, a short film that I shot last year called Flourish, um, is premiering at BAM this weekend. It's premiered, it's done a lot, it's done really well successfully in the Queer Film Festival market. So it's called Flourish and it's premiering at BAM. And it also got in the Holly Shorts, it's an Oscar qualifying short film festival. So it got in and it's one of my first like leading pieces. Um, so it's been like everywhere throughout this year. So it's been nice to like, you know, see those rings every now and then. And I'm in like a actor transitional phase right now that I'm riding the wave in. So yeah, the best is yet to come.
Cool.
Good.
Well, I'll say something to both these noogies over here is whatever you decide to do in your future, you will definitely excel at. Um, I I think all of us on this could say that, right, Chigi? Yeah, it's like this is. I think that everybody here wants to succeed, and they're very motivated, and you've got that drive, and it means you will succeed. It really does. Because I'm, again, if I talk from where I've been and what I've seen, is that the people that I've seen that succeed, uh, especially in this business, which is a tough business, are the ones that are 100% committed, and no complaints, no excuses, just hammering away until it happens, because it will always be noticed. I used to tell people that wanted to work with me on something, and that were younger, and I brought them on, like, let's say, as an apprentice, and I said, okay, look, I'm not going to make you clean toilets, but I had to clean toilets, and I'm going to tell you something. Even when I was cleaning toilets, I made those toilets so clean. And the reason was very clear, is that most people will not clean them that clean because they say, this is demeaning, this is disgusting, I'm not cleaning these toilets. But it's a test, and it is a test. The people, unless they're assholes, but you know, they could be, but the people above you are usually saying, what's your attitude? How are you approaching this? And as soon as you make how you approach everything with such commitment, to do well, you realize after a while that it's like, this is what it's going to take. And of course, yes, with the film business and television and everything else, then there's a lottery on top of that. But if you're not convincing whoever, casting directors, whatever, directors, producers, what have you, of what you got, what kind of person you are, then you've already demoted yourself on the acceptance list. And you know, I'd rather go into a casino with enough money in the bank so that I can actually play, you know, and see what happens. And, so, and eventually you hit, you know. Look how long it's taken me to get this done, right? It's taken decades and decades and decades of doing a lot of different things. I tried to climb the wall of Hollywood when I was in my 30s, and I tried climbing that wall, fell right back down. Wasn't going to work. Look how long it was till finally we did something, and it's like, okay, we finally did it. We finally did it. And so you never know when it's going to happen. But if you keep it, but if you have that perfectionist kind of, two things. All right, I'll leave you with two things. If you have a perfectionist mindset, God bless you. And if it makes you a little bit cranky sometimes, I don't care, because it's that perfectionist offset and compassion at the same time that lets you be noticed by people. And then the second thing is, if you're going to use somebody else to help you on something like a film project, I've always said, if I'm going to get somebody, when I was a director, I would say, if I'm going to get a DP, I want a DP that knows more about camera angles and everything, lighting, than I do, right? Because of course I've studied it, of course I did it, but I want someone they're so good, it scares me. You follow? And if you surround yourself with people that do that for you, your support group, and the people that are making you look good, that helps, because then you can concentrate just on what you have to focus on. And that's why, for instance, I didn't want to direct this film. No way. No way. If I was in my 20s, yeah, maybe I could handle, you know, I could stay up for 3 nights in a row back then, but not now. So it was like, I needed one task, a task and a half, you know, being one of the producers and doing this. So yeah, there were some nights when I had to stay up because there were problems and I had to solve them. But mostly it was a pleasure just to concentrate. The script was done. We'd absorbed it. Now let's just do this. Let's get on that set and do this. And it was life-changing. It was wonderful.
Wow. Mr. Gene Pope dropping gems on No Lies Detected. Wow. Wow. So, Justin, how can people follow you and keep up with you and track you and, you know, be a part of your career?
You can follow me on Twitter at jsams91 and Instagram, Justin Sams Official, and IMDb.
That's right. And Mr. Pope, how can people track you?
Oh yeah, it's well, on Instagram it's at GP Pope, so it's got an extra P in there. Facebook, you just look under Gene Pope, you'll find me. I don't do Twitter. I do it stealthily. In other words, there's some things I want to hear about through the back channels of social media.
Yes.
And so I can just see what else is happening, the alternative viewpoints. But it's not my thing, I have to say. So not Twitter. IMDb for sure. I have my actors website. You know, you can check stuff out on there, and genepope.com. And the movies website is kingofknivesthemovie.com. And that's where you get to see lots of interesting stuff. Lots of interesting stuff.
Cool. And my co-host, Mr. David Raine.
Yes. There's in 2021, my first horror movie is coming out. It's called Room 9. Lionsgate just picked it up for distribution. So it was supposed to be in the theaters, kind of like King of Knives was, and the pandemic freaked everything up. So they're holding off because they still want it to be a theater release, being that it's horror and the effect of a horror movie is, you know, in the theaters different. So we'll see. And right now, like in about 3 weeks, I'm starting rehearsals. Me and Bijan No are starring in a teleplay for Theater Exile in Philadelphia, where obviously there's no theaters are shut down. So we're going to do the play, but they're going to film it. But it's not quite a film, but yet it's not a play. So it's a teleplay. But so we're going to do that, and it'll be available online to watch in February. So it's just the two of us starring in. So it'll be pretty intense. But yeah, and I've been like Justin, figuring things out. I've been playing music a lot more, which is great. Music was a part of my life as well in my 20s a lot. And I put the guitar down for a few years, and I've been playing more in the past several months than I've played in probably the last 10 years, really. So yeah, and I'm at
there's a little buzz on Reverb Nation about you as well. What's going on over there?
Right. So yeah, there's a couple of songs that I recorded a while ago that for some reason are making a kind of international spin. People are streaming my music again now. I don't know whether it has to do with looking me up after King of Knives, kind of Googling me, and then, oh, he plays music too. Who knows? But there's a lot of attention with that. So I think I'm on the top 40 charts right now of the most listened to rock and roll. So
Nice.
as far as unsigned rock and roll, but yeah, so that's going on. That's happening. Yeah.
Good. So how can people keep up with you?
Yeah, so I have all those things, but the thing I'm mostly on is Instagram and Facebook. So Facebook is David M Raine. Instagram is The Path of David, and I do have a Twitter, which I believe is DM Raine. That's how little I use it, but I think it's DM Raine. Other than that, you can go to Reverb Nation, type in David Raine, or IMDb, of course, David M Raine. Yeah. So I think all three of us have pretty original names, so it's easy to find us. You know what I mean? Just Google it.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you gentlemen for coming through No Lies Detected and talking to us. I'm glad that we could make this interview happen, because I know that David expressed that you wanted to do the Stephen Knight show, and that's not off board. We can still have you on the Stephen Knight show, but we're wrapping up our season. We have one more show for the end of the year, and it was already booked. And I was like, David, we can just have him on No Lies Detected. It's a wonderful thing when you do multiple podcasts. You can kind of do what you want. And we wanted to have you on here.
Yeah.
Well,
So glad you guys joined us, for real. It's awesome.
Thank you, Dave and Chike. It's just wonderful stuff.
Awesome. And I have rebranded and reissued my Conversations with Chike Evans platform, which I used to get my camera and take it out and go in people's faces, which I love to do so much. But of course, with the pandemic, I'm unable to do that.
They all look the same.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's all eyes.
Right.
I'm going to invite both of you on my Conversations with Chike Evans platform individually to focus on you particularly. So I'll be reaching out, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from you, and definitely King of Knives too. Definitely.
Part 2.
Right.
Yeah, that's just a working title. We're going to think of something good for it,
Good.
Awesome.